Good morning. My name is Charles Iaker, and for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to give you guys an information speech on the dangers of credit cards. Just keep in mind that some of the facts and the findings from the speech are based off the American statistics. However, studies have shown that throughout the world, they are very similar. Next slide, please.
Yeah, there can go.
There we go. Okay, so based off of a survey from a company called Gallup back in April 2014, 72% of Americans own at least one credit card. So 33% own at least 1 to 2 credit cards, with 18% 3 to 4 credit cards, 9% 5 to 6 credit cards, and 7% 7 or more credit cards. So that's a lot of credit to be at the disposal of somebody, so you really need to be careful. Next slide, please. So based off of a, I guess like an article from the NASDAQ company, the average credit card debt per borrower was $5,234. So at the average interest rate at that time, which was 15%, the average debt for that borrower would be $6,020. If a person had bad credit, the average interest rate at that time was 22%.
Wow.
So the actual debt would end up being $6,385. So that's a pretty big jump just based off of interest. So we just need to be careful about the interest rates on credit cards because that's the thing that makes or breaks the actual credit card that you have. So for me and from my experience, so I've owned a credit card for about 16 years now. And the one thing that really gets people is the fact that they're easy to obtain and use. You can pretty much use a credit card anywhere. Department stores constantly pursue consumers, especially during the holidays, to buy stuff from their store based off of that credit card. The buy now, pay later concept is always intriguing to people because you can purchase what you want and pay for it later. However, just keep in mind that you do have to pay for it later, and with an interest rate that can be very costly. A lot of college students rely on credit cards as they are away from home. This can be a good thing. This can also be a bad thing. So the advantages and disadvantages of credit cards. So some of the advantages are the fact that each credit card has a detailed purchase report. It's a statement, and it shows what you buy and what you don't buy. A lot of parents like this idea for college students that are away because they can actually track what they're buying and what they're not buying. For emergency funds, for example, if you get laid off, you need the cash now. It's always on your card, so you know you're available to use it at that time. It's safer than carrying cash. If somebody takes your wallet from you, they're less likely to spend your money with a credit card as to oppose physical bills that you can take anywhere and purchase. So if used properly, a credit card can also build your credit score. Again, used properly, it can help your credit score. However, a disadvantage is that if used improperly, it can decrease your credit score by a lot. High balances, hidden fees, things like that. For example, when you get a credit card from a company and for the first 6 months they say it's 7% interest. Well, after that 6 months, it can quadruple up to 21% interest. So for that first 6 months, it was great, but now you have a 21% interest rate. So you need to be careful about that. And the fact that they're too convenient and addictive. You can use them anywhere. A lot of times people use them more than they should just because they have them on them. And that can give a pretty addictive behavior because you have it, so you want to use it. For financial future, so when you don't pay off your credit card bill for the month that it's due, you have what's called a revolving debt, because now that gets tacked on to the next bill as well as the interest. And it's hard to budget and plan for things like retirement, college funds, things like that, when you have a reoccurring bill every month. Large debt can hinder the important purchases. For example, if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car. If you have high balances on your credit card, then your credit score is reflected from that. And then, so maybe when you go to purchase your home or your car, you don't get what you want, as opposed to, maybe having to settle for a car or a house rather than getting what you want, because you have high balances on your credit card and it affects your credit score negatively.
Normally, is how much maximum amount of each credit card?
I'm sorry?
How much maximum amount of each credit card?
So the average was $5,000 for each credit card.
Okay.
I would say never have more than you can pay in one bill. A lot of times that gets hard to do, but I would just mitigate having a high balance on your credit card.
So normally that is like if a bank issue you a credit card, then it's not based on your the income or something like this. Anyone in America can obtain a credit card.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anyone in America can obtain a credit card. I believe if you're under 21, you have to have the approval from somebody that's 21 or over or a family member based off of the Credit Card Act. But I mean, pretty much anybody can apply.
Okay.
Next slide, please. So in conclusion, so these are just some things that you can think about when you're using or managing your credit cards. The one thing is to read the fine print on the offers. A lot of times the details are in very small print because they don't want you to see that stuff. And that's usually the interest rates, as crazy as they may be. So just make sure you read those. You want to avoid high balances on your cards.